Let's take a look at graphing absolute value functions using transformations. The first thing we want to do is identify a vertex, and that is based on the h and k values that we talked about before. So when we look in here, the h value comes from the number in with x. And it's always the opposite sign of what you see because the convention is for it to say x minus a number. So the h value, or the x coordinate of the vertex, is 5. All right. And then the k value comes after the absolute value. So we have k equals positive 2. That one always matches what you see. So that's our vertex point. So I'm going to call that V for vertex. Okay. Now this number out in front, the a value, tells us the direction of opening, if it opens up or opens down. Because this is a negative, it opens down. And if it's a number bigger than 1, then it'll be a vertical stretch or a steeper or narrower graph. And if it's a number between 0 and 1, then it'll be a vertical shrink or a compression. And that'll make it a more gradual or wider graph. Okay, so this shifts right 5, up 2, and it opens down. So the first thing I'm going to do is plot my vertex point, which is at positive 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up 2 is right about here. Okay. And then the a value is negative 1. So you can think of that like a slope, but it's not going to create a straight line. It's going to create two straight lines that form our v. So that means I can go down 1 over 1, and I can go down 1 over 1 in the opposite direction. And I can keep that pattern going, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. And generally speaking, you want to draw your absolute value graphs with a minimum of 5 points, the vertex being one of them. Okay, so there's my absolute value function. Now, if I go through and take a look at what happens if I change it to an inequality sign, we know that inequalities make it so that we could have either a dashed or dotted line versus a solid line, and it also includes shading. All right, so because there's no equal to in this inequality, we're going to have a dashed or dotted line. And also because y is greater than, that means y is more than the absolute value. That means shade above it. Okay, y is more than something means shade above, y is less than something means shade below. So I'm basically just going to do a rough sketch of what we had before. This isn't going to be perfect. I'm just going to give it a quick rough sketch, but with a dotted or dashed line. Okay, and if you're having trouble drawing dotted or dashed lines, it's okay to draw a solid line and then make a note right next to it that it's supposed to be a dashed or a dotted line. All right, and now I need to shade. So as far as shading goes, I need to shade above it. So if I take a look at the vertex is right here. I want to go above that. That's where my shading is going to go. So it's going to go above, or in this case on the outside. So above will be everything out here. All right, so that means all those points in the shaded area would be solutions to this inequality.